I think one of the things, again, this is the thing that like makes me nervous is like, I imagine being a founder or an aspiring founder and you're sort of standing at the edge of this cliff and you're getting ready to jump. And like, there's a lot of like trepidation and doubt. And so I was just curious, like for you in the early days, like how did you overcome some of that early doubt? And does that still come up now? And how do you now, I guess, deal with that now? Is it different? Like, do you deal with like some of that doubt now, like differently than you did at the beginning? What was that like?
Yeah, I would say I did it. I deal with it probably better, just because I've got like the now it's part of my DNA. But I think that's where it's important to be, and that's why it's so hard for like for example for solo founder, because doubts are very hard to overcome when you're alone. And John, we've known each other for like almost 10 years now, so we know each other. And when one of us has doubt, we talk about it and we think about it and we involve other people into this conversation. But it's just about who is surrounding you when you have doubts. You need to make sure you have a very strong support uh, of people that you can talk to and be very, um, how would you say that? Very candid. You need to feel good about expressing doubts that can be critical for your company. Like, what happened with our initial product that was geared to our marketing. So one day I called him and I told him, I think this product is going nowhere. We had a walk in the Golden Gate Park, and we thought, yeah, it's going nowhere. Let's pivot. And it's just like if you don't express your doubt, you probably first of all you're probably not the only one to have this. And talking with people who have similar doubts is important. If you have doubts that are not justified, you will have someone who tell you, think about it this way, look at this from this perspective, and it's just about like, being transparent about how you feel about these things and having a good support system around you.
Were you like in that, because in that moment, like, were you afraid of his reaction, or like was this something that like was bursting out of you and that you had to share?
I mean, it's like life and death at that point to, and not for me, but for the company. It's like, if we go like that, I mean, we cannot afford to do that. I mean, that's not what we signed up for. We want to be successful. We want to build a product that people want and need. We don't want something that is good to have or a project that because you have a global pandemic doesn't work. No, I'm making it a bit more dramatic, but
That's okay. I'm a sucker for drama, so we can over dramatize a little bit, and that's fine.
but I think it's important when you have doubt. First, try to introspect also to figure out why you have these doubts, what is triggering that. Because when you have doubts, generally it's like a big blob. Try to decompose it and figure out where it's coming from. And for this one, it was obvious. Like, first of all, I told you I was getting some gray hair because of it. It's just I it's not working. And sometimes just from introspection, that's not enough. So bring someone else into the conversation and be candid about it.
I want to point out a pattern that I think is really interesting is that like it, a lot of these big inflection points, I think it's been clear to me that like bringing other people into the conversation has, it sounds like it's been a critical part of the process from defining the product to overcoming doubt. It's introspection, but then also bringing other people into that process.
Yeah. And we've surrounded ourselves with a lot of people during when we create Airbyte, whether it's like people who invested enough for the pre-seed, people who invested in us during the seed, during the Series A. Like we always bring people that we will be able to talk to and bounce ideas and just be challenged also from or by. Uh, it's so important. I mean, if it's just you in your head, that's not enough. You cannot think of everything. You don't know what you don't know. So you need to bring this extra knowledge from the outside.
Get people involved, get out of your own head. How do you balance the like being the chief inspiration officer and champion of the vision of the company and like the realistic considerations for like mitigating risk of the company in the direction? Because I imagine like it's probably hard to balance those, but it sounds like what you're talking about with overcoming doubt, it's like first introspect, why do you feel that way, deconstruct that, and then talk to your co-founder or bring somebody else in to pressure test some of those assumptions and thoughts to see if it is real doubt or if it's a legitimate risk to understand.
Yeah. That's why I think it's important to have overarching goal or vision. because vision is basically the sun. You want to get there. Now, doubts are general. Either your vision is completely wrong. That could be a thing. But in general, when you will have doubts, it's like about the direction you're taking to get to your end goal. And so that's why it is so important to have, as you said, like 3 words on how do you define your vision and how do you define your company goals. Because this is, I mean, it's not called a North Star for nothing. It's what gives you direction. And doubts are going to be about, am I taking the right direction to get to that ultimate goal?